I'm Carol Park, a writer and ESL teacher living in Redwood City. I've written stories and a novel set in Japan. Many thanks to the San Mateo County Library System for creating the Story Café and working with California Writers Club, of which I'm a part. And here's the start of my story called Sticking It Out. One June day, Marjorie found that much of what she touched stuck to her. Here's how it went. Marjorie navigated past dirty plates from lunch and dinner stacked on the floor, and then considered what was left of this morning's breakfast. On the sink and counter were syrupy plates, a griddle, and a mixing bowl with splatters of batter. Her son Noah hadn't yet washed the 2 days' accumulation of dishes. Had he returned to bed after breakfast? She would start the laundry. If she pressed her son hard enough, Noah would help with that. Still, she thought, I just can't do this, not yet. First, a treat. She opened a cupboard crowded with scads of stacking Tupperware. Flour, oats, sugar, and other staples filled the plastic containers. She couldn't see her hidden sweet. As she nudged around the supplies, a box of crackers fell. She should pick it up, but oh, her back hurt. Later, she could, or maybe Nora would help her. Samantha, the Persian cat, wandered in. Meow, she complained. I've fed you already. None for you, dearie. Perhaps the chocolate was up higher. She stood on a stool and searched among a plethora of bottles and found in the rear her chocolate. She pulled off the shiny Valentine wrapper, enfolding the bar, and recalled how, on receiving this large gift of chocolate and red roses from Ajax, her husband, she had felt so special. The flowers still stood on the table, and a glance brought back that feeling of being wanted. Though many brown petals had fallen, she couldn't yet throw them out. Samantha's tail brushed Marjorie's leg. She climbed down and put in her mouth a chocolate morsel. Meow, the cat insisted. Marjorie peered into the kitty's fathomless green eyes. Not a flinch. The critter surmised too much. Oh, leave me alone. You got your kibble. She noticed Noah walking to his computer, but she didn't have the energy to nag nor insist he tackle the dishes. She went to throw away the candy wrapper, but despite how she shook her hand, then raked her finger and thumb on the hard edge of the trash bin, she could only tear off part of it. The shiny wrapper stayed on her right hand. Despite her continued fussing, the scarlet film still clung to her fingers. Noah, she called. He didn't come. She waddled toward him, sending Samantha running. The cat's tail hooked a tower of dishes placed on the floor. They swayed. Drat! Samantha stopped, and with uncanny precision, its body pressed against the dishes to stay the demolition. Relieved, Marjorie went on to Noah's desk. He didn't look up. Immersed in creation, he announced this morning his intent to make a new avatar for his game. She held out her hand. Take it off! He tried, he pulled, but couldn't free her. Bits of red still stuck to her fingers. Oh, God. Well, I must go on. Noah, come help me with the clothes. He joined in, following her instructions for sorting and loading the washer before returning to his digital recreation. That morning, her hand was the only problem. Then, as the afternoon came on, her right forearm also stuck to things, lint, clumps of cat hair, and scraps of paper. Despite her exertions, she couldn't scrape them off. Fortunately, her left hand maneuvered papers with no perturbation. Having located her phone, she texted, Ajax, come home. Her husband rushed in 30 minutes later, as usual ducking to enter. He wore his same construction overalls, as usual, dirtied. I couldn't make it sooner. I was installing a door. Marjorie stood up and held out her limb. Her husband's eyes grew round as he saw the strangeness of paper and cat hairs clinging to his wife's right arm. They won't come off. What is this? Why me? She lamented. He moved closer. I'm sorry, dear. He hugged her gingerly, seeming to avoid her skin. When he stepped back and surveyed the cluttered room, he scratched his head as if pondering deeply, then said, "This is what happens when you become attached to all manner of things." His sigh was long, as his legs were tall. She shook her head, rejecting his admonition. He brought out an array of cleaners, Simple Green, Windex, and X14, but even his namesake couldn't dissolve the bond of skin to debris. "How about spiritual help?" Ajax suggested. Marjorie nodded. Meanwhile, Noah continued to maneuver his avatar, past the ogre or whatever. Marjorie groaned. Didn't he care about her dilemma? "We're going out, Noah." She couldn't tell if her son heard her or not. Outside, Ajax opened the car door for Marjorie, and as she swung her legs within their Camry, he warned, "Don't let your right limb touch anything." He reached in to buckle and secure her. Having Ajax drive her felt good, a break from typical chores and errands. She remained careful at first, and then, from habit, leaned her elbow on the armrest. It stuck. She wiggled it back and forth, but her elbow didn't budge. When Ajax parked, she jerked her arm with force, and though her elbow came off, skin stuck to the door. Oh, the blood! Oh, was it sore? The spiritual teacher must aid her. Some Sundays, their family had gone to the House of Illumination, but not for a while. A priest led the congregation, a former priest, that is. Marjorie gasped at the roses lining the walkway, all red in bloom. She bent to inhale their fragrance, and when she straightened, a petal remained on her nose. "Oh no, it's spreading," Ajax cursed. When they entered the office, Marjorie noticed the receptionist start. "Please excuse me, there's reason for my strange attire. I have a sticky condition." She would have told more, but Ajax jumped in. "We need to see the teacher." Within his office, Thomas introduced himself and Ajax summarized Marjorie's situation. "You've come to the right place. I know magic as well as prayer." The guru waved his hands and repeatedly said, "Begone, spirit of sticking, spirit of fear, spirit of hoarding." The petal cat hair wrapper resisted. They stuck. They stayed stuck to her skin. "I'll study up, and after a better idea comes, we can meet again." "Wouldn't it be an imposition?" Marjorie asked. She liked the warm way the guru smiled. "I want to help those who seek true health. To keep on learning is my ambition. And it's my pleasure to seek guidance on this sticky condition." Thomas directed his gaze at Ajax. His smile turned tentative. "It would help if you could also meet with us." Ajax paled. Being a contractor, it's hard to get leave. The more Marjorie considered the guru's prayers, the scarier it seemed. She preferred sweet, reassuring kind of help. Church light, you could call it. "There's something grave beneath your condition," Thomas added. "A larger spirit is trying to gain your attention." What did he mean? Marjorie asked herself. What would a larger spirit want? Would it require deep changing? A fearsome proposition. Marjorie shook her head. "I'm not ready for that." She'd find an easier solution. Or so she thought. To hear what's next in the story of Marjorie and Ajax and how their cat plays a part, look for Fault Zone, Strike Slip in your library or on Amazon. I hope you keep listening to Story Cafe or check out my website, carolpark.us. And remember, by listening to Story Cafe, you're helping story makers who long to connect to listeners.